G'day everyone. So as you might know, I'm going to be writing my new youth musical this year. I'm not sharing it with you just yet, but if you watch the live stream from last week, you'll get a little hint of to where I'm headed. Before we get started on today's video, remember to hit the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you can join me on my crazy creative journey as well. I thought what would be kind of cool is to share with you guys some keys that I use to help me get started. Not the actual process of writing the show itself, but how I managed to get myself going so that I can get into the process of writing the show. So here are 6 keys on how to get started writing a musical. Number 1, what if? The what if question is a great way to get yourself started and something that I use a lot. I once went to a Pixar conference, would have been nearly 7 or 8 years ago. And one of the things that they use in developing their particular films or their particular styles of films is the question of what if. And I think it's a brilliant way to get started. I've used what if to create a lot of my shows. Tree of Life was based around what if trees and humans were linked together. Whatever happened to the tree was felt by the human. Whatever happened to the human, the tree would have a visible effect to it. Another one of my youth musicals, A Different Normal, would be what if the coolest kid in the school suddenly became the least kid in the school, the person that no one wanted to know. When I developed Disconnected, my single thought was, wouldn't it be cool? What if I could divide the stage with a wall? And that's what I did, and I developed a whole story around that. Let your mind go nuts. Let it race, let it dream, let it come up with amazing ideas. Don't try and stop yourself from going to wild and weird places, because often the best stories are in those places. Tip number 2, research. Research is one of those ones that is really, really important and something that I learned when I was developing my very first musical called Backstreets. Now, Backstreets will never be ever seen because it's not a great show. And one of the reasons why it doesn't work, and there's many reasons, and I could do a whole different video on that, maybe I will, but one of the many reasons is I didn't know anything about the topic that I was writing about, which was kids living on the streets. I was a country kid who grew up on, a couple of acres of farmland. And what did I know about city kids, number one? And what did I know about kids who were living on the streets? The answer is absolutely nothing. So in that very first musical, I learned that research was really, really important. So no matter what your what if is, no matter what the idea for your story is, you need to do the research as well. And that actually helps you long term with your project. So when you're trying to gather ideas, you discover these new things about the topic that you're looking at. Key number 3, plot the story. And what that basically means is skeleton out what your story is going to do. Hit each of the plot points. One of the ways that I do that is by using library cards. These are old library cards and these are fantastic to use. And this is actually the one for Erratically Epic. And when I was planning this with Adam Wallace, who's the original writer of Erratically Epic, the book, definitely check out his stuff. His stuff is amazing. When I was doing it, we sat down and we plotted out each of the points. Act 1, and we knew that the first song was going to be The World of Jackson Payne. And in that, we've written down what we wanted to put into the song. The ideas we put onto a different card. Did we want to introduce Mum and Dad and Jane and Nan at this point? We weren't sure. But then into number 2, Jackson's song. Then Someone by My Side. Now it didn't end up becoming Someone by My Side. And that's a really important thing to remember, is that even though you've plotted it out, it won't always stay that way. The cool thing about library cards is that you can shuffle them around and move them around. So I highly recommend using library cards to help plot them out. Get ones with different colors so that different colors can mean different things. And when you plan it all out, it becomes a really visual thing. And you can stick it on a wall or put it on a table, and it helps you to shuffle things around. So key number 3 is to plot out your story. Key number 4 is don't try and get it right the first go. Let's be honest, your first draft is probably not going to be the show that eventually goes up on stage, nor is it going to be the thing that people are going to see. But the first draft is where you've got to start. And there's no point in you trying to get it right the very first go. Nobody does that. Songs change, lyrics change, storylines change. The key is to free yourself from those confines, from the mental confines of going, I've got to get it right, I've got to get it right. You don't. Just let it happen, put out all of the ideas, throw it all out there, and like spaghetti, throw it against the wall and see what sticks. Key number 5 is to write the show that you want to see, that you would like to see up on stage. It was a piece of advice that was given to me by a very famous director when I was in the middle of writing Electric Dreams. And I was a bit stuck. I'd got to the point where I'd torn it apart. It was about draft 6 and I was struggling to put it back together. And he said to me, Drew, put together the show that you would want to see. That was incredibly freeing. Remember, at the end of the day, you have to be happy with what you're writing, with the show that you're writing, with the story that you're writing, with the outcome that you're creating. Yes, it's going to change and morph, and it'll naturally do that over time, and also as you develop it further from its drafts. But at the end of the day, you have to be happy with the show that you want to see. So, write it. How do you want to see it play out on stage? Key number 6, and even something I have to remind myself is, just start. Just get going. There is nothing stopping you. There is nothing holding you back. You are the one who has got the idea. You're the one who has got the vision, the dream, the story. You're the one who's got something to say. So just start. Start writing. It doesn't matter if it's in the middle or the end or the start, wherever. Just get something down on paper, get something on your computer, record that first song, hum that first melody, write down that first lyric, jot down that first part of the story. But above all, just begin, because you're the one who's got the story that the world needs to hear. So I hope that's helped some of you out there who are looking to write a musical for the first time, or even for those people out there who have joined me who are more experienced in the area. Maybe one of these tips is something that you haven't heard before or thought of before, and you can incorporate into your musical writing. And remember, it's not just about writing shows. It could be about writing songs, about creating a piece of art, a sculpture, a story, a poem, whatever your creative pursuit. You can use these things to help you get started. And I really do hope that you do. But until next time, my name is Drew, and remember, just get started on your creative journey. See you later.